last week we talked about the new features on Instagram that let you make your own algorithm a little bit. So just to catch everybody up, last week, Instagram released this feature where they let you basically type in a prompt, think about like ChatGPT, for example, and say, I want more content like X, or I want more content like Y. I want more Seahawks content in my feed. I want more sports content. I want more Creator Secrets content, of course. And the Instagram algorithm will listen in those scenarios. Benji, one of the things that you mentioned was that it reminded you a lot of search, actually. And I think that that is something I want to talk about here because it's super important to me that this is something that is a proactive thing by users who might be using this feature. Now, we don't know how successful it'll be, but if you think about the algorithm on, let's say, TikTok, the very first thing that happens is that you open up TikTok and they show you a video. You have no choice. There's no real intention around what you're watching at that point. This is a way of adding a smidgen, I would say, of intention back into the feed experience on these platforms. And I want to kind of rewind a little bit to another example of this that I think is a powerful example on Spotify, believe it or not, that I think will extend over to these Instagram algorithms. You can even say it's kind of like it, and especially on YouTube. So on December 10th, Sarah Perez for TechCrunch says, Spotify announced Wednesday that for the first time, it's giving users more control over the streaming service's algorithm. The new tool allows users to describe what they want to hear in a personalized playlist that reflects the full arc of their taste, according to the company. That means that the playlist focuses not only on the songs that you like now, but your entire Spotify listening history from day one, something that differentiates the feature from other playlists, the company says. So just to recap that and say it in non-Sarah Perez words, basically what it's doing is it's looking through your entire history of everything you've listened to on Spotify, and it actually generates its own prompt, which is kind of interesting, and it makes it so that it traces your entire arc of listening. But this is built on a feature that is just like that Instagram algorithm thing that we just described. So there's this other feature that I'm saying it's built on is that you can go into Spotify and you can type in a prompt that gives you a playlist in return. So out comes the playlist, and it allows you to take that playlist and just run it basically like you did before. So it's kind of the same thing. It's not really adjusting the algorithm, but it is adjusting the playlist. But you can, here's why I think it might be interesting. So here's my theory. YouTube will benefit from features like this in the future. Say you get home at night, you open up the YouTube app, and the first thing that it shows you is a few recommended things, but you get scrolled to the end and maybe you've been waiting around for a minute and there's a carousel at the bottom and it says, speak into the microphone on your remote and say what it is that you think that you're interested in. Now, what do you think it's going to do? It's going to go out there. It's probably going to use the search function, which everybody knows is very important. It's going to kind of sequence them together, kind of understand the flow of things, look for content that'll work on a TV instead of on the computer, for example. And then it'll sequence them in an autoplay playlist that you can kind of get going. And so you and I have talked a lot about the idea of the old ranking competition kind of dying, especially as it comes to shorts, right? Like it's less and less ranking is a profitable kind of enterprise, which when I say ranking, I mean showing up first on the search list on YouTube. But if this thing supercharged by AI kind of becomes more and more popular, you might realize that ranking becomes important again, right? So right now, the sort of ranking that you're doing is on the algorithm. You want to show up first on somebody's algorithm, which is why we say build for the TV, because you want to show up on these people's TVs. But once you add these types of features, you can start to see, well, maybe you don't need to be the first one on the TV, but as you're known for saying, Benji, you can come second place. You can be the second recommended thing in the algorithm. So
first recommended thing after their intentional thing that they watched.
Yeah, and actually, I just want to hear more of your reactions to that idea. This is, again, just a theory about what might come to YouTube, but you can start to see all of these algorithmic platforms, including Spotify and Instagram and even TikTok to a degree, are building out these AI features that are letting you do this. First of all, do you think it'll come to YouTube? And second of all, do you see that as a return to form in terms of search?
Yeah, well, I mean, first off, why would a platform, and we're talking about Instagram, correct?
Yes.
Let you search something or maybe kind of make an emphasis on the fact that this is a tool. You could always search on Instagram. That was no different. But now you can be more intentional, and they're saying, hey, do you know we have this function and we're trying to make your viewing kind of like experience better. It's because what they had before was getting worse. The great part of having an algorithm-led experience is you don't have to think. Usually it gives you exactly what you want, or at least that keeps you engaged and entertained until it becomes brain rot, right? We're just so addicted to swiping through. We maybe throughout the day grab a phone, and then what happens after that? You might quit it, or in my case, I deleted Twitter again. By the way, right?
Really?
There was just no value in it after I got the value I got. And it's the same thing with TikTok. It could be with Instagram Reels. So for me, I think that's just a way to make the whole experience better by saying, hey, instead of just getting out of Instagram, or in my case, deleting Instagram because you don't like that algorithm-led experience, why don't you control it and know that you can influence what it is that our algorithm feeds you? It's like we're telling that thing is this: the algorithm only listens to the data you give it, but it doesn't always know what you're thinking, even though it is freakishly correct. We see an ad or talk about something to our friend, and then next thing we know, it's like showing up on an Instagram feed. But there's a limitation because there's always thoughts that are never spilling out just to yourself. So this is your way of doing it. Secondly, will it, be a function on other platforms, like specifically YouTube? Well, it already is a thing on YouTube. That is what's so interesting to me. The biggest takeaway, why YouTube's so great, because it's still always a search-based experience. It's a search engine. People know there's a library of content. So even on shorts, I'd say if I had to bet money, I don't know, I've heard this about TikTok too. People are searching for shorts for a specific reason. I used to look for recipe videos on proper YouTube and watch 4-minute, 5-minute, 10-minute recipe. Now I'm watching on shorts. They're a lot shorter, obviously, but still I'm searching for it. So that behavior is very normal to YouTube. And when you ask me, do you think they'll add it? Are you saying like on the shorts tab and make it more purposeful like they do on Spotify?
Yeah, I didn't think about the shorts tab actually, which is funny. But let me back up and then kind of answer your question, which is that if you think about the way that YouTube used to work, right, there's two ways to get to content, basically. Two main ways once you go to YouTube. One is by searching, and one is by getting recommended content on the homepage. More and more over the past year, you and I have said, ranking for search is harder and harder. There's more competition than ever before because of shorts. Shorts are outranked. I mean, I think that almost 100% of the time when I search for something on my phone, shorts comes up first. Is that true for you too? I mean, I see them almost like it's like the first, like at least 4, if not 6 or 8 when I search.
Yeah, almost every single time. It's almost rare that I see a proper YouTube video on my phone show up and I have to always swipe through.
And so from a creator's perspective, if you were competing for that first spot on YouTube, you would have had a regular, horizontal, maybe not long form, but at least a couple minute video before. And now you're being pushed down the list by one, sometimes below the fold, which is crazy to think about, right? And so you are suddenly losing out on all of that AdSense money. You no longer have the ability to kind of rank and play in that game because the people who make the shorts are going to do it. By the way, sorry, Benji. Sorry, Sean. But you guys advocating for that shorter and more condensed content in YouTube secrets was kind of the ultimate. This is kind of the ultimate expression of that, right? It's just kind of the natural thing that happened, right? But we have talked all year about long form content coming back in a way. And what I was trying to say is that these AI algorithms are doing it for short form content right now. But imagine being able to do that for long form content on YouTube, right? You could imagine that being the same way. So if you think about opening up, I don't know, something about the Marvel event, next to Marvel Avengers movie on YouTube, and you hit autoplay, it might play another Avengers movie next, right? But it might not. But if you told it you wanted more Avengers content on YouTube, it could literally program your entire afternoon, hours of content potentially, just with a prompt that you're doing there. So that's kind of what I'm wondering about. I mean, not that you have any inside info, but you could see how that could bring search back for long form in a way that it's kind of not in play anymore, right?
Yeah, you're just guiding the algorithm where you want to go, because I think everyone would agree when you watch any algorithm-led platform, the experience is very random. It's all over the place. At least for me, I don't know. Some people tell me, oh yeah, I only get sewing content because that's all I do. Maybe if that's all you watch, maybe because you and I and a lot of users like us watch a variety, it's always giving us variety versus, I mean, I think about, this is something I do. So this tool will be something I use. when I'm on YouTube washing the dishes and I want to listen to something. Usually it's something educational, something informational. Oftentimes it'll be a world history or geopolitics. And I do pick when I have to pick, even if I'm doing something, based off of the first thing I watch. So right now, what's going on? Russia and Ukraine. That's a geopolitic related type of subject right now. I don't want the next thing I watch to be some American politics commentary on, economics. I want something, again, covering Russia and Ukraine and what's going on, the updates. So in that case, I go through the suggestion and look for that. Sometimes I'll type in the thing that I'm looking for. So in this case, if you're saying this is something that they're testing on Instagram, they've already done it on Spotify to create playlists, I would totally use that because then it's smarter for me. Now, that's just me personally. But yeah, everyone could use it. The question is, why didn't they make it a thing before?
Yeah, that is a good. I think LLMs are a big reason why the kind of new AI wave
because
enables
now
it.
they can do it.
Because now they can do it. And so this becomes something that you can do.